I've never done a murder mystery, that genre, before.
Quiet, please. Let's do the whole thing. Let's start with everybody in the wrong places.
I've done almost every kind of genre, and I love to take them and then kind of turn them over a little bit, look at them a little differently.
All right, rehearsal. Quiet, please.
The classic sort of Altman thing is an ensemble piece. It's interweaving. Everybody's got their own agenda. Everybody's got their own through line through the film.
I want to watch where he puts his hands.
It's like nothing else I've ever worked on.
It's just fun. It's just really good fun.
Excellent.
It's been amazing. Incredibly liberating as an actor.
But I'm really kind of waiting or hoping for a mistake, a recognition of truth.
What do we spend our lives living through then?
He just sort of stands there waving his hands a bit and it all magically kind of seems to fall into place.
And we say, wow, look at that. That's what I want to keep.
The lines get screwed up and muddled up. Fight your way out of it. And like you do at a dinner party,
They wanted to do a film set in a 1930s house party with a murder.
Constance, welcome.
He's still got that vile little dog, I see.
Yes, the world you hate lasts forever.
Not exactly a sort of homage to Agatha Christie, but a kind of reworking of that genre, you know.
I like to deal with a conventional situation because the audience then is comfortable, and then you can kind of turn it over.
turn over.
All 23, take 2.
And then, of course, once we started it, I said, but I don't really want to do a whodunit.
Of course he wasn't murdered. Not that sort of murder.
I want to do that it was done, not whodunit.
This is an Altman movie. The script for him is a starting point.
Once I had it all cast, I didn't have a script. I don't want to learn the script. I don't want to follow the script to see if the actors do what the script says. They know the script. They're learning that because that's their parachute. We do a scene, I say, that's terrific, and I'll turn to the script supervisor and I'll say, did we get all the plot points in?
Would you also want to cover the kicking out of the movie?
And she'll say, well, no, they left out the thing about the murder. I'll say, oh, shit, well, we got to do that again, and so who's supposed to mention the murder? Because I don't know.
All right, now let's play this game. Let's assume that we have to do this right now. The curtain is gone up.
As we add each character and what their idiosyncrasies are, what their conditions are, it almost dictates the story. The story kind of tells itself.
My name's Mary McKeithen.
Oh, here it's not. It's Trentham.
It's kind of taken a particular time in England where prejudices and snobbery and kind of small-mindedness is really very heightened, and he's shining a torch on kind of every ugly aspect of our nationhood.
The interesting thing, of course, is that the social hierarchy of the below stairs was actually more than the above stairs.
The servants' domain downstairs has the same ritual as the upstairs. They repeat it downstairs. What's this?
I believe this is my place, Mr. Jennings.
Oh. And since when did a baroness outrank a countess?
And I think it's a source of comedy in English literature and life, you know, for the last 1,000 years.
It just slowly reveals the ridiculousness of it, the dependency of grown, adult, rich people who own houses, massive houses and estates, their utter dependency on a servant class.
I can't open this wretched thing.
I don't think the English crunchy house would have been seen in quite this way before.
I'm dealing with this. What is it, Mr. Wiseman?
Well, to start with, my name is Denton, Henry Denton.
You're here as valet to Mr. Wiseman. That means you'll be known as Mr. Wiseman below stairs for the duration of your stay.
We started talking about it and realized that it might be a very interesting thing to do a murder mystery that was told entirely from the point of view of the servants.
I said, okay, so let's not bring the audience above stairs unless they're accompanied by a below stairs person.
It's talking about stopping your allowance.
But it's a life. That was settled. He can't do that.
It is then transmitted to the audience from below stairs as gossip.
Please, Mr. Meredith, there are ladies present.
And this, of course, developed into such an ensemble piece. I mean, there's 35 characters in this.
I just am kind of overwhelmed at the variety of brilliant and amazing actors that we've assembled for this piece. Looking around and seeing Maggie Smith over there and Kristin Scott Thomas in that direction and Jeremy Northam there and Derek Jacobi over there and Alan Bates in that direction.
Everywhere you looked, there was either someone you knew very well, and it was lovely to see, or it was someone you'd admired forever and was at last meeting.
Just leave everything in one pile around the corner there. Make sure it's...
And Bob said, all of you are the lead. Whenever you're on the screen, your story is the main story.
Let's rehearse this once without the rain, and then we'll do it.
And of course, that is his hallmark. But the other thing, which is part of this actually, is that because he is who he is able to persuade this extraordinary group of actors to appear in this, doing parts that they wouldn't think of doing and haven't done parts that size for 20 years.
That sort of thing comes from the culture of the movie business. Agents will tell their client, well, it's much better to be in a big bad picture than in a small good picture.
I was intimidated coming in because I know what a commitment there is made to the arts in Europe, much more so than America, and that a lot of these people have been trained far more classically than I have been.
We're isolated from this, and then go across and listen.
It's a very comfortable set to be on because there are many old friends on the set. And also, I think, because we're all really in it together.
I don't think that the experiment would have begun to work without a cast such as this.
Well, I just think it's terrific. It's a whodunit. It's everything. It's a comedy. It's funny. It's brilliantly written. It's directed by the best director in the world. There's a certain freedom about it, and there's the way Bob directs, which is unlike any other film director I've ever worked with. There's no sort of seeming structure to it. You know, you don't do a master shot, then medium, and then a close-up. You get more and more frightened as the close-up comes nearer. There's none of that, which is wonderful.
So we're starting with Le Chien, and here we go. Here we go, action.
William, if I could have a word with you alone after dinner.
I can't leave my guest, can I? He's richer than anyone else. They're all after his dosh, you know. No, they don't really like him. He's a bit common, isn't he? I think he's a bit crude.
How do you manage to put up with these people? You forget I earn my living by impersonating them.
Everybody is in a kind of a life and death struggle for something. Somebody wants to desperately leave and make a better life for themselves. Somebody's hiding a secret. Somebody's in love with somebody. Somebody wants to be in love with somebody. Everybody in this house is filled with some kind of passionate life.
What are you doing?
Has Constance asked for money yet?
No?
Raymond tells me she's been complaining that her allowance isn't big enough.
That'd be all, sir. Well, she's married out of necessity, something she cannot stand.
You don't know what I'm interested in.
Well, I know you're interested in money and fiddling with your guns, but I admit it, when it comes to anything else, I'm stumped.
That is not fair, Billy. I am having an affair with the head of the house.
Thank you, Elsie. Thank you. Oh, you've got some hair on your dress.
Thank you, sir. Everybody knows that we're carrying on, but it's never mentioned, it's never said, it's never referred to.
I think it's disgusting the way they all use him. None of the rest of them have got the brains to make the price of a packet of tea.
Have you finished, Elsie?
The butler was the king, the housekeeper is the queen of the household.
It's about Mr. Weissman's diet.
Yes.
He's a vegetarian.
A what?
A vegetarian. He doesn't eat meat.
Doesn't eat meat?
Now, Mrs. Croft, we don't want to be thought unsophisticated, do we? Mr. Weissman's an American. They do things differently there.
She describes herself as the ultimate good servant.
I know when they'll be hungry and the food is ready. I know when they'll be tired and the bed is turned down. I know it before they know it themselves.
I play Mary, who's Lady Constance Trentham's lady's maid.
So what's the gossip in the servants' hall?
I'm her eyes and ears downstairs. I kind of tell her any information that I've heard.
What's Lord Stockbridge like?
He thinks he's God Almighty. They all do. And I'm a visiting servant who comes to the house with plenty of attitude.
I'm sorry if I spoke out of turn, mate. Didn't mean to offend you.
I'm not offended. And don't call me mate.
My character is, for most of the movie, pretty mysterious. You kind of don't know exactly what his place is and that sort of thing.
Which one of you is Mr. Weissman's valet?
I am. Your ladyship.
Oh, you indeed, yes, heavens. Thank you for your efficiency.
You're all set then.
All right, turn over.
Lady Trentham, it's, I'm William McCardle's cousin, Ivor. Ivor Novello.
Well, I'm in a slightly odd position of playing a person who actually lived and was very well known.
Somewhere there's another.
Do you think he'll be as long as he usually is?
Yeah, I've got a call booked for California. California? Since I happen to be in England, I'm out here doing research for my movie.
Mr. Weissman's very odd. Apparently, he produces motion pictures, the Charlie Chan mysteries.
Mr. Weissman,
Yeah.
tell us about the film you're going to make.
Most of it takes place at a shooting party in a country house, sort of like this one, actually. Murder in the middle of the night, a lot of guests for the weekend, everyone's a suspect, you know, that sort of thing.
How horrid.
Louisa!
Isabel?
And who turns out to have done it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that. It would spoil it for you.
Oh, but none of us will see it.
Cut.
The thing that Robert Altman does so brilliantly, like Rembrandt, he just goes like this, and you see somebody in the corner, and you know their whole life.
It's like any painting.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Inspector Tom.
My aunt, Lady.
Somebody looks at it and it hits a button with them. It hits a place and they go out and they say, oh boy, I don't know what that was, but that's right. That's right. And that's what you're trying to get the audience to do. That's what I'm trying to get the audience to do, is to get excited about a recognition of truth. Just play it as it plays. Don't worry about talking at the same time with other people, because that's what we're doing. I'm trying to encourage actors not to take turns, to really encourage them to deal with conversation as conversation.
I can't imagine how one ever goes about inventing a tune. Where do you start? At one point, I thought, all this improvisation and ad-libbing was going to be the survival of the loudest. But in fact, people have been really respectful of each other, and there hasn't been any kind of camera hogging, unless it's all coming from me, and I haven't noticed.
What I'm trying to get to here is that we don't do one of these things where we're going down the table and you say your lines, and then you say your lines, and you say your lines, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to do them simultaneously.
If you're willing to take a little leap of faith and realize that as an actor, you can have a lot of say in where your character goes, what your character says, and you get into a collaborative relationship with Altman, you're going to be served very, very well.
We're going to do, I'm sorry to say, what you've already forgotten, but we're doing the whole scene.
It's like getting into the cold water. You put your toe in, you say, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then they learn that this is kind of fun.
Oh yes, it's great fun. He's got an enormous sense of humour, great kindness, great sensitivity, and is obviously having a ball, enjoying himself, and that communicates to us.
Should I just take the gamble that I move away from the door during the...
Well,
And he has a way of doing it without putting any pressure on or making people feel uncomfortable, or he lets everybody feel as if they're inventing their own thing.
So let's see you just closing the door.
In order to get them to do that, I have to assure them or give them the confidence that they'll be protected. And if they do something that's stupid, nobody's ever going to see it. I want them to be as comfortable as I can possibly make them, because then I have the chance of getting a piece of performance that they don't even know they can give.
Sir.
About that low shot that nearly killed him that morning they were up.
Sir. What is it? We haven't dusted those things for fingerprints yet.
Good.
The 3-shot on this camera's
Yes.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does know what he's doing. He may seem like, you know, an elderly gentleman standing there saying, "Okay, let's try again." But he, you know, he's something very, very different. I've not really worked with a director of quite that stamp before.
Once you're here on Clive, then you want to stay there to pick up Kristin crossing.
What I'm always interested in films are the errors and mistakes.
No coffee, George, but I'll have a...
Because if you can go to every film, at least every film I've made, and you say, okay, in each film there's 6 really great things in it. None of those had been planned. Every one of those things that you would take out as the high point of any film of mine came as something that was not scripted, not planned, and certainly not directed by me.
Where I think
Because I think that's where you hit that truth button.
Well, you should go now, Miss Trentham.
that last take we did, however, Kelly, was so good you'll never do that good again. No, but try. Continue your movement over to pick up Ryan.
Yeah.
And then he takes you across and you're looking upstairs.
And I'm looking for behavior. Because what I really want to see from an actor is something I've never seen before. So I can't tell them what that is.
It's been amazing for me. So many times you're tied to doing beat by beat exactly what's on the page, and kind of everything has to be clean and obvious, and it's been great because you feel like you're living. I was just wondering if you wanted some company.
Well, I suppose life must go on. Unhook me.
So you're allowed to take risks, so you're allowed to try things that you're not quite sure will work, but maybe they will.
All right, rehearsing.
We've got that scene in a minute. He lets things breathe, lets everybody feel it's the easiest thing, people strolling in and out of scenes, but at the same time he's got eyes in the back of his head, he's incredibly incisive.
Yes, and push him away and march.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Good.
Robert has this amazing knack for choreographing the scenes, really.
Important thing in this scene, in this thing we're shooting now.
You feel that you're not left high and dry on an island, you know, that the whole scene around you is full of detail and interest. You're not sort of working all alone out there.
To get to watch these actors do what they do all day, every day, was nothing short of a thrill and a privilege.
Thank you.
Action!
That frightful inspector won't let anyone leave.
I'm not interested in the servants, only people with a real connection with the dead man.
What gift do you think a good servant has that separates them from the others? It's the gift of anticipation.
He only got what he deserved.
I have a confession to make.
I think he's got something to hide, that one.
I think I've got lightning in a bottle here.
And the winner is Robert Altman.
I don't know what a best director is, except that someone that stands in the same space with the best actors.
The films selected as the Best Picture nominees for 2001 are...
I've been through this before, and I was right. It was terrific.
Gosford Park, Robert Altman, Bob Balaban, and David Levy, producers.
We're proud of what we did and what we set out to do.
Quiet, please. We're seeing straight across. Action!
I wanted to get it right. I had to get help because I don't know. I mean, I have to turn around to somebody and say, what does she call this guy? Does she say, hey, Joe, or does she say, Your Highness, or Your Lordship, or what? So, and I wanted all that to be correct.
Bob feels if we're going to do it, let's do it right. And let's see what we feel about this way of life by showing this way of life.
Suppose they complain. Oh, true, exactly.
We had a butler, a maid, housemaid, and a cook that had all been in service at the time this picture was made. They're all in their 80s now.
I was able to find, our butler, Arthur Wrench, our cook, Ruth Mott, and our housemaid, parlourmaid, Violet Little. And they all started in service somewhere between 1931 and 1936.
I'm Arthur Richard Inch. I was born the 5th of October, 1915. My father was a butler, and my mother had been a housemaid.
Well, I don't ever call myself a professional. I call myself just somebody who likes to cook. And I've always liked cooking, and I went into the kitchens at about 14.
I was house parlourmaid. That meant a lot of work because the vegetables were all done very nicely and attractively, and they didn't have all the modern gadgets you've got now.
I need all the knives there, all the knives.
This condition came out of a social structure, phenomena, that is uniquely English.
I grew up in private service, as it were, so at the age of 15 I was able to say these immortal words, dinner is served, madam.
I prefer to just help in the kitchen side of it, whereby I think I know that pretty well, or I think I do. Can I just go and show them what I want to do with the ice? As to what instruments and things you can use and how you make ice cream, which you're going to try and do today, I think. And you're beating too fast. You've gone past mayonnaise stage now, anyhow.
I am advising all the men servants as how they should behave and what they should do, and iron out any details they might get wrong.
Well, Mr. Inch is, one we all bow before him because, he really is the absolute, the genuine article, and he knows the job down to its finest detail.
Alan Bates hung on to Arthur Inch like a life raft. He was at him all the time. He wanted to get the exterior right.
For instance, telling Mr. Jennings that he was the head of the household and he had to be authoritative.
May I ask what is going on? George, will you please join me in the drawing room as soon as possible? Mr. Probert, will you kindly take everybody back downstairs? Certainly. Dorothy, I'm especially surprised at you.
Come along, ladies. Whenever there's anything that requires any kind of special knowledge, he's on the set, and he's standing behind everyone who has something particular to do, especially me.
And action!
I think the only surprising thing is just how particular it is. You cannot disobey any rules, where people sit, how you address them.
Yeah, we know the very idea of service is offensive to you, George, but there's no need to take it out on the rest of us.
And then Sir Derek Jacobi telling him how to do the valeting and things like that.
Anything you ask him about what you would do, how you would be dressed, for instance, all that, he's very useful.
Also telling the footmen what they should be doing, how they should be dressed. Because at one period they had a photograph of the footman with a black bow tie. Well, a liveried footman never wore a black bow tie. It was always a white one all day long while he was in livery.
Bad. Turn over.
We gave all these actors access to these people so that they knew that as far as they wanted to go into the research, they could go. But they weren't forced to go into it. And try to look around down there where it is.
Luckily, it's still within living memory, so that's incredibly valuable.
I did meet with the actresses, and they're very enthusiastic about how things were done, and it's been a great privilege to be involved, I must say.
The girls will ask me anything if they're not sure. what sort of corsets should they wear? What sort of cap should they put on and that sort of thing. It's quite interesting what they think of to ask you.
Some more tea, Constable. I'll take that, thank you, Bertha.
Making sure of their attitude. Make sure that they know what they've got to do, you see, and they haven't got to be familiar with the gentry. When you're serving dinner, you serve with the left hand with the food, and some of them put their hands maybe on the chair. Well, that's all wrong. You've got to put your hand behind your back and serve the food.
Just to relieve everybody's egos, we are going to shoot this all from this side of the table.
I was doing a scene where they were setting the table, and then, with the 15 knives and forks and spoons, and one of the actors picked up a fork and asked, what do they use this fork for? And he took it out of his hand and he went, spit on it, and then wiped it off with a napkin and put it down. And I told him to do that. I said, just spit on the fork and put it, I was over by the monitor when we shot the scene. Arthur was sitting next to me, and he saw that guy spit on that fork, and Arthur went, no, don't spit on the fork. That would never happen. I said, well, don't worry, I'll cut that out probably. But, he wanted everything to be as it should have been. I wanted everything to be as it might have been. But I could have the guy spit on the fork, but I wanted to be sure that it was the right fork in the right place. And I needed him to tell me that.
Here comes information.
I've seen what they've done and it all looks fairly all right.
Excellent.
They've picked up on it very quick. Well, they're actors and they know what they should be doing after being told.
It's brought an entirely different light onto domestic service. I think it's very funny, and I say, if such a thing as reincarnation, I'm going upstairs because I'm going to give downstairs hell when I get up there.
Brought you some coffee.
If I wanted coffee, I'd have run for it.
Because those that are upstairs are going to be down.
You shouldn't sneak up on people like that.
Don't worry, it's nobody. Sorry, Mrs. Isabel.
And I'm going to be the boss up top.
The dedication and the homework and their desire to get it true, I think is really marvellous.
All right, let's do it again.
It's just my life being redone. When I walked into it, it was just as though I was going back in time.
Okay, well, let's see. Who am I missing? Oh, all right. He's a legend. I don't have to introduce him. He is nominated for Best Director, Best Producer, Robert Altman. All right. Well, congratulations to all of you on one of the great pictures of this year, or many other years, really. Mr. Altman, I wanted to start with you. I notice you've often called this film and many of your films an experiment. Why did you want to do this particular experiment?
It's an area that I hadn't gone into before. It's just something I hadn't done before. And so it was an experiment, but all films are experiments. They should be.
How did it come about?
Actually, Bob Balaban and I have known each other for many, many years, and he came to me. We were talking a couple of 3 years ago, and he said, "Is there something our companies could do together?" And I said, "Well, I've never done a whodunit, And so I said, you know, like Agatha Christie, 10 Little Indians. And Bob started going through all the Agatha Christie stuff that hadn't been done. And every month or so we'd meet. He said, there isn't anything that... And then we just kept talking about it, and suddenly it became kind of a reality. And then he knew Julian Fellows, and he said, I know this guy. He's been working on something for Tony Hopkins. And I said, well, let's call him. And we got him on the phone, and we hired him on the phone, I think, did we not? I kind of forgot about it. And then he sent in this treatment, and it was terrific. And so we said, and it grew like Topsy from there.
And David, you had a lot to do with the casting. You've been involved in casting with many of Mr. Altman's films. How does a Robert Altman film get cast? Because it's the most amazing collection of actors.
Well, I'd say it's a combination of factors, really. Anytime Bob is ready to start a film, chances are there's a few people that he's wanted to work with already. And when you're beginning to form an ensemble, it stands to reason that there'll be several people that he already has in mind going in. And then the realities of financing and such dictate that a certain tier or shall we say profile of actor be included. And a lot of that kind of gets done on the front end of things. And then you're left with the small function of filling in the other 30 parts. And fortunately, on Gosford Park, Mary Selway was the casting director, and she knows every actor in all of Britain. Everybody who came through the door was compelling and vivid and exciting, and whether we had a part for them or not, you know, you wanted to go to dinner with them anyway. And it was just a really joyous experience. That it was a case of wishing we had more roles because of all of the genius.
Well, when you have all these actors on a set, what's the one thing you tell them? What are you looking for? Because I know you give them a lot of leeway. There's a lot of improvisation that goes on.
No, it's everybody misunderstands this improvisation thing that gets supplied to me. It causes great trouble between the writer and myself when that sort of rumor gets out. So to stop it this time, we made Mr. Fellows, he has another credit on the film, if you notice, he's the technical advisor. So anything that, when they say all this, how do you get them together, improvisation, et cetera, actually Julian was running around into little corners of the room writing this script as we went along as well. C'est pas vrai?
I think the point that people misunderstand is that Bob creates this very creative set. And, you know, when you have something like a large dinner scene or 15 people in a drawing room, obviously you don't write absolutely everything that everyone is going to say, or the script would be longer than Gone with the Wind. And what you do is you release the actors, you kind of free them up, so that although most, pretty well all really, the dialogue that you kind of concentrate on in the film is scripted, what it means is that there is this kind of pillow of reality going on behind, so it doesn't feel scripted, which is all helped with the roving camera, so that quite often the best lines in the film, he said rather bitterly, are half off camera. And, you know, and the camera moves away from the actor or whatever, so that there's always this sense of overhearing real life. And that is what comes out of this thing. It's not that they're not playing the script, but they're not only playing the script. That's the point. They are playing behind the script. And because the camera is whirling around like something in a Strauss waltz, they never knew when it was, there was no question of, oh, it's her shot. I don't, you know. It was everyone's shot all the time.
In fact, we had radio, all of the actors had radio mics all the time. And I think the sound, I think I'm right, aren't I, Bob, that the sound operator took everybody's dialogue, which is I've never experienced before in a film. I think that was probably a bit awkward for some of the ladies in their evening dresses, but they had to wear them in rather intimate places. But
hey, Kelly, can you tell me what the experience is like as an actor on an Altman film? Why does every actor want to be in a Robert Altman film? What is the the great thing about that?
I don't know, it's just ingrained from, I mean, I've only been sort of acting for 5 or 6 years, and all I've known is there's actors have like a top 5 list of directors they'd like to work with, but kind of know they never really will. And Bob is just there, and so it was a bit of a shock, and amazingly exciting, but then amazingly terrifying, because I wasn't sure what it was going to be like.
Bob, I'm wondering, you really came up with this idea initially, and of course you're a very well-known actor. I'm wondering if you came up with the whole thing just as an excuse to work with Robert Altman.
Well, I just really got the ball rolling is what I did. I've always wanted to work with Robert, and I was looking for any excuse to do this. So I just was sitting around thinking, what could I possibly do? And I called him, and we just started talking about this Agatha Christie thing, which seriously I thought, well, at least he paid for lunch, so we've had something out of this thing. And then we had lunch 3 or 4 times, and it started becoming something. I mean, one of the first things that, Robert, I remember you saying was, well, if it's Agatha Christie, does it really have to be about the upstairs people? I sort of prefer the people downstairs. And then we started talking about it, and it really came out that you couldn't have it seem like an Agatha Christie mystery if it was really only the serving class, because you need to have people in fancy clothes waltzing around. And then it came that it would be told from the servant's point of view. We both got, it was so exciting, just that simple idea. It's not revolutionary or anything.
Jeremy, you play a real character. This is a real-life person. I wonder what the challenges of playing Ivor Novello. Tell us, first of all, who he was and how that came about in the film that we put a real person in it.
Novello himself didn't sing. He didn't think much of his voice. It doesn't mean to say that he didn't sing. But he thought he had a voice like a bullfrog. And he sang as a boy chorister. And he wrote a famous song, Keep the Home Fires Burning, or Till the Boys Come Home, as it's otherwise known, and then spent the rest of his life trying to recreate the same success. He was an actor, dabbled in Hollywood, is responsible for the line, Me Tarzan, You Jane, and not much else, I think, and wrote hundreds of songs and dozens of light musical comedies, which he starred in for years and years and was hugely popular.
Your brother's actually a concert pianist.
Yeah, I enlisted my brother's help in a state of panic. I rushed down to him and said, what does this sound like? And he went, try it like this. And he was our insurance policy, because he came up and recorded 3 of the songs. Well, he recorded more than that on the piano on set. And my nerve held for 2 of them, where I played and sang live, which was pretty scary in front of this lot. And then the other 3 I just tried to... bit of that going on, which is just as difficult, I have to say.
Helen, I'm wondering about the upstairs versus the downstairs. We know there was a very delineated difference here in the film, but I'm wondering, as actors, did you have your own kind of cliques when you were in the upstairs area as a downstairs character? Did you find it hard to fit in as an actor?
Yes, they treated us very badly. No, the reality was we never met each other, mostly. There's some people shot in the upstairs world. I didn't at all. My whole life was downstairs. As indeed, the whole point of having servants like that is that you don't see them. They are.
Well, you went in
to
poison him.
I went in to poison him. I had one day upstairs. Yeah, but mostly Bob shot all of the upstairs stuff first, and then all of the downstairs stuff. And they were the downstairs stuff was on the most magnificent set that I've ever worked on, which it was all built, all of that. By Stephen Altman, and it was in the studio, and the upstairs was all on location in a house.
We have microphones on both sides here, and if you could come down, if you have questions to ask, please, we ask that you come down to the mics so that we can hear them. And we have a special guest here, one of the stars of Gosford Park, Mr. Ryan Phillippe.
Hello, good evening. Sorry I wasn't here sooner.
Well, Ryan, wanted to ask you about being really, along with Bob, the only American actor in an all-English cast.
Bob, are you American?
Was that a challenge or an exhilarating thing for you?
Both. I was really nervous, really in awe of the work of the people I was interacting with, and but at the same time, I was exhilarated because it was such a different environment, a different arena, something I'd never really been a part of, and there was an opportunity to learn so much. So,
how did it come about for you? How did you get this offer?
I think somebody else dropped out, so sort of, de facto. So,
okay, questions in the audience here. Come on down, right here. Yes.
Hi. First of all, tops to all of you for putting out a wonderful film. My question is for Mr. Altman. The blocking in your films seems so precise and yet comes across so subtle and effortless. And I'm wondering what the rehearsal process is for that.
Well, I don't know how to answer this truthfully. It sounds glib, but actually, if you put actors and they all know what their character, what they're playing, what they're supposed to be, they all have it in their head. They are the center of that universe, and the other actors and myself and the rest of the crew are orbiting around them. So suddenly we have all of these universes with all these planets. We're all running around everybody else, and it's like those bumper cars. You try to stay out of the way. You don't want to run into somebody, and people suddenly find their place. So if I start telling, now you stand over there and you're going to do this, and how do I know what they're going to be doing? So really, we just sort of kind of ease into it, and then might say something like, you'd probably be over here, wouldn't you? And next thing you know, this thing they're interacting and it's working. And it always works. It's quite simple. If you let the actors, who are the ones who know what they're doing, if you let them find their space.
But it's interesting, Robert, because we've all been in a lot of movies that have been directed by different people. You just mostly see the way that you direct, and I have a feeling you think this is so obvious that it must be what people do, But part of the reason you asked before, why do people or actors so excited to work with Robert? Robert has what I think is the result of, who he is in his life and everything else, and probably having, if you don't mind my saying this, Robert, your ego is so healthy that you don't, no, seriously, Robert doesn't think that he has to tell everybody what to do. This is the sign of kind of a, forgive me, healthy person, I think. Or
it's also the sign of a short memory.
But you said but Robert says sometimes, forgive me, Robert says, that he's sort of waiting for an accident to happen. That he sits back, sets everybody in motion, and then waits for something. Well, that's kind of an amazing thing.
There was another element in this, though, that right from the beginning, Bob made the decision to have a kind of difference of tone between the languor of the upstairs people and the tremendous energy of the downstairs. And part of the interest in the film, right from the beginning, we all felt, was in making the way this house worked absolutely specific, so that instead of, as normally when you see servants in films involving them, they're kind of generalized, and they're just kind of over there doing something in a frilly hat. And in this one, we were absolutely determined from the beginning that we would know what these people, if you were a lady's maid, what were you doing? If you were a footman, what was your job? If you were a kitchen maid, what was your job? And as a result, all the actors below stairs, where this tremendous action happens, by the time the film started, had such a tremendous sense of the absolutely specific work that they were doing. It wasn't generalized in the sense of, oh, this is a bustly scene. They knew absolutely what they would have been doing in real life, and that allowed them to have exactly what Bob's saying, an absolutely specific purpose. And I think what is satisfactory, one of the things very satisfactory about the film, is that you do have a sense of seeing how one of those houses worked.
The other thing about the blocking was also that Bob has such an incredible understanding, grasp, knowledge of the craft of filmmaking, of what lenses do, what cameras does, what a move does, what a move on a certain lens does, that that's an amazingly liberating thing for an actor, because you're not caught in that situation, which you often are, of the sort of argument that's going on between the cinematographer and the director about how to shoot it and where the camera should be, and oh, but that won't cut with that. And, you know, not only does he have a grasp of one camera, but he has a grasp of two cameras moving in opposite directions to each other. He did extraordinary camera moves that I've never seen on a set before.
Was that intimidating for any of you as actors to have two cameras going simultaneously like that, constantly on the set?
Outside of a couple of and two of them are here, maybe three. But most of these actors have their experiences in the theater. And in the theater, there is no such thing as a single sight line or a lens. If you're playing here, everybody in the audience, in the theater, every one of you people, none of you are seeing exactly the same thing as another person in the audience. From this side to that side is quite different. So the actors who are used to working on stage have to play not to a camera lens, but they have to play to the other actors and to them amongst themselves. And so these people are used to that. Part of the reason in this film, I did the two cameras that were constantly moving arbitrarily. There was never, well, hardly ever, a reason why the camera was moving. What I was trying to get was the effect that the audience, you people watching the film, have to kind of almost want to move your necks to say, oh, you see. And so the key line, instead of rushing in for a big close-up on Laurence Olivier when he says, loved her, I hated her, you get it on his back as he's going out the door. And you feel like you're lucky to have seen it.
All right, we'll take another question right here, yes?
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here. It's a real treat. So, and when in my next life, I want to be Maggie Smith, and my question is to Kelly.
So do
I. Was it really as much fun to work with her as it looks like it?
Do I look like I'm having fun scurrying around her skirt? It was actually. It was daunting, the same way it was daunting working with anybody that was involved with the film, but particularly Maggie, because I knew that a lot of my work was going to be with her, just me and her in a room, and so that was a bit scary, because I thought if she didn't like me, then it could be really horrible. But she was brilliant and so funny, and it was, I was in a great position anyway during filming, because my character is kind of watching a lot of the time, and I got to openly gawp at all these brilliant people doing their stuff, and you don't get to do that normally. You kind of are too busy going, what's my next line? And when I did have a line, I would sometimes forget. What?
She is a very imposing personality when you first meet her. The first 2 days that I worked on the movie, I was sitting with Claudie Blakely over one side of the table, with Maggie the other side, and she wasn't very well when we started filming and very tired. She'd come straight from Harry Potter, so she wasn't in the best of humours. And Claudia and I were sitting kind of like rabbits in a headlight over the other side of the table, and of course there's a lot of time between takes to kind of small talk and get to know each other. And nothing much was happening at our table. At one point, somebody came over. I think Tom Hollander came over and said, "Hello, Maggie, how are things at your table?" And Maggie looked across at me and said, "Desperately dull, darling, desperately dull."
Okay, yes, right there.
I read Agatha Christie growing up, and she can go into like 13 chapters of character description and everything. Did you ever feel rushed, like, to get on to the meat of the story? Because so much of it is like subtle character interactions and little touches of things. Was it ever like a rush?
Those things are not anything that really come into my mind in a film. There's a script. You read the script, and the tempo that the script gives you, that's the way you think of the film. And then when you bring the actors in and suddenly this becomes three-dimensional instead of a two-dimensional situation, it takes on its own life, and I just kind of follow it down the road, and it tends to have its own, it brings its own tempo in, and so the dramatic structure follows that. Then you come to the editing, and this film, for some reason, went together like that. It was amazing how fast, and the first cut, we took maybe 4 or 5 scenes out that were redundant, and that's the picture that you see. So I think that that's all part of the total process. I think there's too much tendency to separate all these things, to say, oh, well, the writer did this, and the actor does this, and the set does this, and all these are separate things that are supposed to fit together like one of those Humpty Dumpty eggs. I don't think it's that way. I think that all of the DNA of which all of these things I just mentioned are part of, and you throw it in there and it kind of grows.
And you've actually said that some of the best moments in your films have been mistakes.
Without question, every film I've ever made, the 6 high points in it, where I really say, wow, that's terrific, that's terrific. All are accidents, are mistakes, or come from somebody passing through. I mean, they were not part of the original plan. But there was room in the original plan to let those things occur and grow. And I believe very firmly in that.
What was that thing that I remember somebody saying at drama school about performing? The point about rehearsing is you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and then when you get to play, you forget what you know. So then you can allow other things to happen, which is the same principle, which is what he allows us to do.
All right. Yes, sir.
You mentioned Sir Anthony Hopkins was originally involved with the project, and then you never said what happened. Would he have played the role of Sir William?
I met Julian with a project that Sir Anthony Hopkins might have been involved with. That's something that Julian and I.
He was never an issue in this film.
And did Mr. Fellows write all the lines for Maggie Smith, or did you just say be fabulously catty?
I wrote all of them except for one, which I love, which is when she says, "Difficult color, green."
And
that was Maggie.
And finally, Mr. Phillippe, after playing in these new movies with the young starlets, with playing opposite starlets with 3 names, what was it like to work with a really hot chick like Helen Mirren?
Silver tongue charmer.
I was going to say I have yet to recover, but.
Well, I want to thank this entire panel. This has been an extraordinary night and an extraordinary opportunity to get into the making of Gosford Park, and I want to wish you all luck at the Academy Awards. You're all part of it.
Oh, I can't think why I'm so behind today. Because you know what a fuss he's in when he's playing mine host. I think I'll try and get him a paper if I can.
George, what are you up to? Didn't Mr. Jennings give you anything to do?
I'm just going to help with the tea and finish the table with Arthur.
Not taking that cigarette upstairs with you, are you?
Henry, would you fetch me my pants, please?
I think they call them trousers here, sir. Trousers.
Oh, that's very good. How are you getting on? You enjoying yourself?
Not quite yet, sir.
Well, I'm going to get dressed now.
Then I'll be going.
Shut the door, Henry. Thank you.
It's fantastic. He's very, very good at it. But how do we
Ah,
find two of these things?
there's the soda.
He knows it.
Is her ladyship down yet? They're just assembling in the drawing room now. Phillippe, will you?
Oh, here.
A little Dickens.
I think
I won't kill him to wait 5 minutes.
So, I mean, have you ever seen him in the pictures? Doggy Penis and I. That dog and I are not best friends.
What are you doing, Jennings? Excuse me, sir. I was just leaving, sir.
Can I give him back?
Here he is.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. No, he's asking for some kind of huge dressing room.
Oh, Mr. Jennings. Mr. Jennings? Mr. Jennings, has that knife turned up yet?
Not now, Mrs. Croft. Please.
Oh, Mr. Jennings, I was wondering if you could possibly...
Thanks, Doctor.
Now go, George.
Come on, love, don't take on so. He's not worth it.
What will you do now, Mr. Probert?
What? Oh, I don't know. I can't think straight. When I leave here, I'm going to open up a garage. Nothing gaudy, mind. Enough to earn a decent living.
It's a funny ambition for a footman. Aren't you a chauffeur?
I don't understand. Head footman in a house like this. You could be a butler if you played your cards right, and your future would be taken care of.
Future's taken care of. Don't make me laugh. Another 20 years and we'll have vanished like the dodo.
That's what they said in 1914. And here we still are.
You've been very quiet. What's your ambition?
I don't think I've got one. Not now.
I'm saving to open a hat shop. Very exclusive, regular clients.
Yes, I bet you have very regular clients.
Oh, George, he's so rude.
The real problem is that Fox doesn't have anybody decent under contract. I mean, nothing but a bunch of washed-up film stars. Silent film stars.
George, I'd like a drink.
How you holding up, Henry?
Mrs. Wilson's put me in the worst room she could find.
Oh, what on earth do you expect? State bedchamber. Made them look like idiots. Thank you, George.
I'd like one.
And they don't like it. Has anyone told Sylvia yet?
Oh, she's got a sense of humor. She'll be okay.
No, Henry. Henry. You should be the one to tell her. I should do it now before someone else does.
He won't tell her till afterwards. He doesn't want to ruin his fun. Not tonight of all nights. So will I see you later, Henry? Hmm?
No, you will not.
Thank you.
This isn't like you, Morris. Don't tell me you're jealous. He's not in the least bit interested. He's just using you.
I'm using him. We have a deal. I stick to my deals. I'm just surprised that McCordle was right about her.
Well, I suppose a man does know his own wife. She has a point, though. Good-looking servants are the best. They don't dine with your friends.
So what'd you think of my last Charlie Chan picture?
I don't get a chance to go to the pictures, sir. But I am a fan of the books.
No, I don't care what Xanax says. Xanax is a putz.
Right, I'm afraid I'm going to have to requisition this instrument, please, sir. It's a matter of some
Sir,
urgency.
wouldn't it be more sensible if I drove you down to the village?
I think I know what I'm doing, thank you, Dexter.
Is this the only instrument in the house?
There's an extension in the servants' quarters, sir, if you'd rather use that.
I don't think so, thank you. I don't think I'll be long, no. If I could have some privacy. Right, yes, Dexter?
Ooh, just a minute. So,
Fingers. You listen to the inspector on the telephone? That's disgusting. Well, I couldn't help it. I was crossing the hall.
So what was he saying?
Well, listen to... Don't tell us. I don't want to know. That's eavesdropping. Oh, go on then.
Well, listen, he was talking to a lawyer in London, and it sounded to me as if Sir William had decided to change his will. Yeah, in favour of Miss Isabel.
Hope we didn't disturb you, miss. We're very sorry to hear about...
What's the matter? Is yours in a hurry? You can go before me if you like.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Won't Commander Meredith mind?
Sod him. Let him wait. I don't care.
Come on, Sarah. Don't keep us in suspense.
Sir William's going to cut Lady Sylvia out of his will and put Miss Isabel in instead. But he never got round to signing it.
where's that torch? Really, the slightest upset of these people go completely to pieces.
Here, you. Can you do this up for me?
Here, let me.
How am I supposed to manage?
Oh, don't talk nonsense. You manage at home without any help?
Yes, well, I certainly get no help from you.
Pay no attention. He's in a bait, and I know why. Yes, Mum.
Okay?
So I left that tiny pause, didn't I?
I liked that.
I did leave a tiny...
No.
They seem to be asking a whole lot of questions that can't possibly have anything to do with William's death, and I thought...
Milady?
Don't mind Lewis. Seal of confessional's got nothing on her, has it, Lewis?
I should hope not, milady.
Rather anti-Catholic, you see. So?
But it's only that the police seem to be raking about looking for their grubby motives, and I don't want them to be muddled with silly tales from the distant past.
But, darling, you're perfectly safe. Sure, it's not illegal. Even someone who does it as badly as you do.
That's exactly what I mean. You see, you say things to be funny that can't be unsaid, and it's of no relevance.
Don't you think it's for them to decide what's relevant and what isn't? Yes, what is it?
The inspector's been asking for you, and I want you to know he's been talking to the lawyers in London.
Has he indeed? Well, I'll have to wait. I want a bath.
Well, good. That's settled then. And I think we can leave Mr. Denton to dress himself. That's all. Thank you. We can go now.
I'm much obliged, Mr. Jennings.
Not at all, Mr. Probert. I'm giving them a glass of the 1912 this evening. I think they might need a bit of cheering up.
So do you have any plans, Mr. Probert?
I think I'll go to my sister's for a week or two and sort things out. I have an idea that we might open a little hotel together. Well, it'll be more of a bed and breakfast, you know. We have talked about it. I think this might be the right moment.
What, are you leaving service? Well, I'm surprised.
Are you really, Mrs. Wilson? When every day you can read about another house being sold for a school or being demolished to make way for a hospital? Maybe Mr. Probert is right. Maybe we're nothing but a race of dinosaurs.
I too may be leaving here soon.
I very much hope not.
Me too. Me too. But we can none of us control these things, Mrs. Wilson. And please don't be concerned for me. Believe me, I fully deserve whatever happens to me.
There are worse people in this house than you.
Very good.
Cut! Very good. Very good.
All right, well, you tell me. Who is Ray Milan? Yeah, but no Clara Bow and no Jen. Excuse me. I'm sorry. What's your name?
It's Barnes, sir.
All right, Barnes. You ever go to the movies?
Yeah, sometimes go to the flicks.
You ever hear of Ray Milan?
Who?
Ray Milan? You ever
Never heard of him.
Thank you. I did research. Nobody ever heard of him. Yeah, well, you tell Sheehan I'll sign Milan, but it's Ixnay on the undead. All right? The library's fine. The murder in the library is fine. Trust me, I know.
You heard he was cutting Lady Sylvia out in favour of Miss Isabel?
Well, that's nothing. Wait for this. In the new will, he left Lady Stockbridge £100,000. Can you imagine it? Sylvia thinks it's a huge joke, particularly since you won't have to pay it.
But were they having
an affair? Well, the time to make up your mind about people is never. Yeah, which reminds me, Mary, do sit down.
Sit down?
Oh, yes, dear. Sit down. I haven't complimented you on how you managed those horrible little men in the library. I've been thinking, I think it's time your salary reflected your skills. We'll talk about it when we get home. Mary, dear.
Sorry.
Thank you.
He was an odd mixture. Better and worse than people imagined him. Poor William. I always thought him the luckiest person I knew. Wonder what his star sign was.
Gemini, sir.
How on earth do you know that?
I think I better get these washed, sir. They still won't say how long you're going to be here.
Don't tell me that. I'm not a stupid man, Louisa. Will you stop lying to me, you bitch?
We'll talk about it later.
If you like, but I've got nothing else to say. Well?
Oh, Lady Lavinia won't be in Black Milady, so we should be all right. But we ought to get started.
I just want you to be honest with me.
Oh, do you, Raymond? Dear God. I suppose I wanted you to be honest with me.
Will that be all, my lady?
Don't go, Lewis. There's no need.
I just don't see what's changed.
Well, then you're a fool as well as a liar.
So George got his revenge on Mr. Denton.
Good. It gave me the creeps.
Go away, Pip. Go away.
Miss Isabel, come in.
You're still here then?
Yeah, well, only till the morning. Don't worry about her. What is it?
Well, I just thought you'd like to know. Mabel Nesbit left this on my dressing table. I think it's over.
Funny for her, she tore up your cheque.
And I just wanted to be certain you never did say anything to Daddy about it that night, about Freddie and everything.
No, I never had a chance.
No. No, I'm glad that he wasn't bothered with it before. Well, I suppose I better go. Good luck, Elsie.
Good luck to you too, miss. Hey. Don't ask.
Do you think Sir William was in love with you?
A big pardon, my lady. What am I to do about the packing? Only Lady Sylvie's maid said you might be staying on for a while.
It's not my decision.
On the contrary, it is entirely your decision.
It is not entirely my decision.
Oh, yes, it is.
Louisa, it is not.
It is, Raymond.
Very well, then.
Oh, don't say it if you don't mean it.
I do mean it. I won't mention the subject again. I won't mention the subject again.
Yes, then thank you. Do pack. I will be leaving with his lordship after all.
Who is it? Mrs. Wilson.
Just a sec.
Come in. Have you been smoking in here, Elsie?
No, ma'am.
The other guests aren't leaving by train, so the luggage car can take you to the station. You'll find it waiting out the front.
And that's it.
Your references will be sent on to you wherever you wish.
I didn't mean anything to him, you know. It was never serious.
Does that matter?
Good.
Oh, I can't think why I'm so behind today. Because you know what a fuss he's in when he's playing mine host. I think I'll try and get him a paper if I can.
George, what are you up to? Didn't Mr. Jennings give you anything to do?
I'm just going to help with the tea and finish the table with
This was a scene that was really, he was sitting there having a smoke and was caught by Mrs. Wilson, and it was just a transitional scene. And I think this would have cut right up to
We've got a lot of her haunting the place and a lot of him doing his work grudgingly.
Oh, this is a...
Oh, Ivor, yes,
This is
in his room.
Ivor. And who's this? Oh, yeah, and
Henry
Ryan.
Denton.
Henry Denton.
My pants, please.
I don't, the scene obviously was a transitional scene and really didn't have any meaning.
Well, it's also, I think he was speaking in his accent.
Yeah.
Not quite yet, sir.
Well, I'm going to get dressed now.
Then I'll be going.
Shut the door, Henry. Thank you.
It's fantastic. He's very, very good at it. But we
Ah,
can't do these things.
there's the soda.
He knows it.
Is her ladyship down yet? They're just assembling in the drawing room now. Phillippe, will you?
Oh, here.
A little Dickens.
I think
I won't kill him to wait 5 minutes.
Now this is a scene where Henry Denton is suddenly sitting down having drinks with the upstairs people and is noticed by
Jennings. Has no idea why.
And Jennings can't figure this out at all. He's just stunned by that.
Every social convention he's ever been made to observe has just been shattered.
And Ryan likes it.
We didn't need that.
Oh, Mr. Jennings.
And he's just absolutely stunned by it.
Mr. Jennings, has that knife turned up yet?
Not now, Mrs. Croft. Please.
Giving him a heart attack.
Yeah, he can hardly handle it. But once again, it gives us the chance to say about the knife. And we establish his alcoholism.
Which he actually doesn't start slurring his words till halfway through the movie.
He's a little squiffy.
Very subtle.
But that wasn't necessary.
And this is the scene where they discuss what they might do after careers in service.
Yeah, while they're waiting for the inspector, isn't it? Aren't they?
Come on, love, don't take on so. He's not worth it.
And you set this early enough so we wouldn't be concerned with the looming Second World War also.
When I leave here, I'm going to open up a garage. Nothing gaudy, mind. Enough to earn a decent living.
It's a funny ambition for a footman. Aren't you a chauffeur?
I don't understand. Head footman in a house like this. You could be butler if you played your cards right and your future...
Yeah, this we use the end of this scene.
Don't make me laugh. Another 20 years and we'll have vanished like the dodo.
But this, you knew you were going to cut this out before you shot the last scene with Jennings.
You've been very quiet. What's your ambition?
With
No,
Henry
that was
and
another scene when Jennings found out that
so
he
didn't
was
you
having
also
drinks with
shoot alternative scenes? One you would do in case you didn't want to use
Yeah.
another one for the same information?
Yes, might have been the case here.
The real problem is that Fox doesn't have anybody decent under contract.
Now, this is a scene that was after the murder, and they're sitting around, and George is serving them. And then we see Ryan Phillippe, Henry Denton, there, and so he's been outed. And you see him being snubbed by, he had to get his own drink, because the servants are really pissed off at him by this time.
She'll be okay.
No, Henry. You should be the one to tell her. I should do it now before someone else does.
He won't tell it till afterwards. He doesn't want to ruin his fun.
And then it kind of explains that there's a little jealousy between the Balaban character and Henry, who he is his
boy toy.
And again, he's snubbed by the servant. And
this isn't like you, Morris. Don't tell me you're jealous. He's not in the least bit interested.
Just
using you.
Makes it a little more
using him.
Blatant, wouldn't you say?
I'm just surprised that McCordle was right about her.
Well, that makes explicit the nature of the deal between Weissman and Denton.
Right.
Good-looking servants are the best. They don't dine with your friends.
That was a pretty good line, too.
Yeah, and socially explaining what happens and why.
I'm a fan of the books.
And then that's one of those great lines that so terrible that people say, "Oh, did you see the film?" She says, "No, I don't go to the films, but I am a fan of the book. I read the book." We hate that.
Wouldn't it be more sensible if I drove you down to the village?
I think I know what I'm doing, thank you, Dexter.
Is this the only instrument in the house?
There's an extension in the servants' quarters, sir, if you'd rather use that.
I don't think so, thank you. I don't think I'll be long. If I could have some privacy. Right. Yes, Dexter?
Oh, just a minute. So,
Fingers. You listened to the inspector on the telephone? That's disgusting. Well, I couldn't help it. I was crossing the hall.
So what was he saying?
Well, listen to... Don't tell us. I don't want to know. That's eavesdropping. Oh, go on then.
Well, listen, he was talking to a lawyer in London.
This is the subplot about the will, which
Yeah, there was a
decided to
subplot in here
excise.
about the will and changing the will that, and we took all references of that out
Disturb you, miss.
because it just complicated things to a point we felt they didn't need to.
It started turning the picture into a plot thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very kind. Won't Commander Meredith mind?
This is the servants setting up their master's baths.
Yeah, there's one of your great sets that never got to be seen, Steve.
He was going to cut Lady Sylvia out of his will and put Miss Isabel in instead. But he never got round to signing it.
where's that George? I mean, really, the slightest upset of these people go completely to pieces.
Here, you. Can you do this up for me?
Here, let me.
And this is a scene where Claudia kind of really takes control, where she's been the underdog all the time.
Well, I certainly get no help from you.
Pay no attention. He's in a bait, and I know why. Yes, Mum.
And this was one of the subplots that didn't need that much information. Scene 105. This is
another subplot.
Yeah, and tells you a little bit more about the past between Charles Dance's character and Scott Thomas.
Their affair.
And their affair in the past.
I should hope not, my lady. Rather anti-Catholic, you see. So?
But it's only that the police seem to be raking about looking for their grubby motives, and I don't want them to be muddled with silly tales from the distant past.
But darling, you're perfectly safe. Sure, it's not illegal. Even someone who does it as badly as you do.
That's exactly what I mean. You see, you say things to be funny that can't be unsaid, and it's of no relevance.
Don't you think it's for them to decide what's relevant and what isn't? Yes, what is it?
The inspector's been asking for you, and I wanted you to know he's been talking to the lawyers in London.
Has he indeed? Well, I'll have to wait. I want a bath.
Well, good. That's settled then. And I think we can leave Mr. Denton to dress himself.
This is a
We
continuation
ended
of
the
the
scene actually here, but it went on further.
I'm much obliged, Mr. Jennings.
Not at all, Mr. Probert. I'm giving them a glass of 1912 this evening. I think they might need a bit of cheering up.
So do you have any plans, Mr. Probert?
I think I'll go to my sister's for a week or two.
And these scenes became kind of sentimental wrap-ups that we felt weren't necessary.
Talked about it. I think this might be the right moment.
What, are you leaving service?
It'll be good in Gosford Park revisited.
Well, this stayed in, I must say, a long time, this particular scene.
Are you really?
Well, this long walk up the stairs of Derrick's is so nice.
About another house being sold for a school or being demolished to make way for a hospital? Maybe Mr. Probert is right. Maybe we're nothing but a race of dinosaurs.
And also, it was
I too may be leaving here soon.
it was
I very much hope not.
a training film on how to decant that wine.
Yes.
The port.
Mrs. Wilson. And please don't be concerned for me.
And this scene didn't work because we find Alan Bates feeling a little too sorry for himself.
There are worse people in this house than you.
Very good.
Very good.
All right, well, you tell me. Who is Ray Milland? Yeah, but no Clara Bow and no Jen. Excuse me, I'm sorry. What's your name?
It's Barnes, sir.
All right, Barnes. You ever go to the movies?
Yeah, sometimes go to the flicks.
You ever hear of Ray Milland?
Who?
Ray Milland? You ever
Never
hear
heard of him.
Thank you. I did research. Nobody
First
ever heard.
focus group in history.
Yeah, well, you tell she and I'll sign Milland, but it's Ixnay on the undead. All right?
And Ray Milland, of course, was in that film.
Trust me, I know.
You heard he was cutting Lady Sylvia out in favour of Miss Isabel?
Well, that's nothing. Wait for this. In the new will, he left Lady Stockbridge £100,000. Can you imagine it? Sylvia thinks it's a huge joke, particularly since you won't have to pay it.
But were they having
an affair? Well, the time to make up your mind about people is never. Yeah, which reminds me, Mary, do sit down.
Sit down?
Oh, yes, dear. Sit down. I haven't complimented you on how you managed this.
This is a scene that's after Kelly had kind of defended Maggie in front of the inspector, that now Maggie is telling her she's going to give her a raise and is sort of thanking her for it. But again, this scene's a little too sentimental for the film.
Mary, dear.
And you do it at the end of the movie also.
Yeah, it just was
a
a redundancy.
It's an odd mixture. Better and worse than people imagined him. Poor William. I always thought him the luckiest person I knew. Wonder what his star sign was.
Gemini, sir.
Yes.
He
That was
slips,
a mistake.
as he knows.
How on earth do you know that?
I think I better get these washed, sir. They still won't say how long you're going to be here.
And that was a self-serving kind of scene in the picture. We didn't need all that.
I'm not a stupid man, Louisa. Will you stop lying to me, you bitch?
We'll talk about it later.
If you like, but I've got nothing else to say. Well?
Well, Lady Lavinia won't be in Black Milady, so we should be all right. But we ought to get started.
I just want you to be honest with me.
Oh, do you, Raymond? Dear God. I suppose I wanted you to be honest with me.
Oh, this was a scene where after,
Will that be all, my lady?
I forget what point in the film this was, but again, it was where...
Near the very end, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, this is...
Where he comes in and she turns him down, but we thought this was not needed.
I just don't see what's changed.
Well, then you're a fool as well as a liar.
Now smile.
Oh, this is more of the dog. Oh, this was a scene when
So George got his revenge on
Yes, Isabel goes up to
Yeah.
Elsie's room.
Go away.
So now we can see.
Miss Isabel, come in. You're still here then?
You're in the scene, Bob.
Huh?
You're in the scene, Bob.
Don't worry about that.
Your cameo.
Well, I just thought you'd like to know. Mabel Nesbit left this on my dressing table. I think it's over.
Bonnie for her, she tore up your cheque.
And I just wanted to be certain. You never did say anything to Daddy about it that night, about Freddie and everything.
No, I never had a chance.
No. No, I'm glad that he wasn't bothered with it before we... Well, I suppose I better go.
This is a scene that really existed only to tie up loose ends that weren't even loose.
Yeah, and also I think for their friendship, which you do see at the end again. This is before that last scene at the end between Elsie and Isabel.
Elsie didn't have a scene with Isabel.
Don't ask.
Yes, at the end when she said, "You're not in any trouble, are you?"
Oh no, that happens much before this.
That's before this.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
after that fact. Okay. I gotta read the script.
See the movie. See the DVD.
I beg pardon, my lady. What am I to do about the packing? Only Lady Sylvie's maid said you might be staying on for a while.
This is a scene I liked a lot.
Yeah, me too.
It is entirely
Miss
your
this.
decision.
It is not entirely my decision.
Oh, yes, it is.
Louisa, it is not.
It is, Raymond.
Where would this have fit in? Just before people are leaving?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very well then.
Oh, don't say it if you don't mean it.
I do mean it. I won't mention the subject
It's when
again.
she says everyone's left except, what was her name?
Yes. Constance.
I won't mention the subject again.
Yes, then thank you. Do pack. I will be leaving with his lordship after all.
Why do you think you did cut this out? This
Well,
was
it
quite
wasn't
good.
really necessary. Just showing that she had to control. But it's a redundancy. It wasn't. It just isn't necessary. And this one also.
Mrs. Wilson.
Just a sec.
Oh, I really did this scene just to show that she's not supposed to be smoking up there, and she threw it out the dormer.
No, ma'am. The other guests aren't leaving by train, so the luggage car can take you to the station. You'll find it waiting out the front.
And that's it.
Your references will be sent on to you wherever you wish.
I didn't mean anything to him, you know. It was never serious.
Does that matter?
That's.
Guess not.
That's a good scene, but it's not necessary.